G'day humans, Chris Stead here. In today's video I'm going to take you on a tour of Tanah Lot, one of 7 sacred sea temples that you'll find around the island of Bali, Indonesia. And I'm going to take you on a tour, show you everything there is to see and give you a bit of a guide, some tips and tricks in case you're thinking about visiting this popular tourist attraction while in Indonesia. I love this, it's the ticketing system here. Here's a big ticketing booth you got to come through, and then there's a Circle K, so you can just go into the Circle K and just literally walk around the ticketing booth. You could almost do it by accident. So apparently this coffee here is made out of cat poo. They feed the cat coffee, then the cat poos, and then they use the poo to make more coffee. Now obviously prices change with time, but you're looking at somewhere between $6 and $10 Australian to get in for an adult, and about between $3 and $5 for a kid to get through the gate. And it starts kind of like a lot of the places in Indonesia, a lot of the tourist attractions. There's quite a walk down to the actual site through a space of various uses, but mostly shops and souvenir shops. And there's another kind of on the way out, you'll come across more of them. And a few toilets and things before you kind of get down to the main gate. Now, Tanah Lot was built in the 16th century by Hindu priest Dang Hyang Naratha. Now, Tanah Lot translates to land in the sea, and as I said, it's one of 7 temples, kind of sacred temples that go around the island of Bali, and you can see one from the other. It's supposed to provide a ring of protection. So, for example, when you look down the coastline, you can see one at Uluwatu to, I guess, the southeast as you're standing there. Now there's quite a large complex around. There's a lot to see and do. You can walk around here for a good couple of hours at least, and that's if you don't kind of go down to the beach and have a play around or look in some of the shops. Lots of intricate architecture, and if you get good weather like I did on this day, it's just a really pleasant place to be, stop, eat, have a drink, as well as enjoy the sacred sites. Now once you go through kind of the main landlocked temples, you can have a look to your left, and it kind of goes up the hill slightly, or walk through an area with more souvenirs and shops, and obviously the locals will be at you like they are in Indonesia, but it's still quite atmospheric and nice, incense, all that kind of stuff. And I'll take you up to a bit of a view, an outlook over the Tanah Lot Temple itself. And this is particularly popular spot at sunset, because sunset's right over the top of it, and you can see how it's kind of out to sea. Depending on the size of the swell as well, that'll be more or less covered with waves and more or less accessible. It does get quite windy, as you may see with the umbrellas there. But you can have a look down here. Obviously you can stop, you can eat, you can drink, but there's some really nice stuff just to explore. The shops are really nicely dressed up. It was pretty quiet when I was there, but I was there a bit earlier in the day, and it does tend to get more crowded. It's a very popular spot. But it gets more crowded towards the evening when people come to see the sunset. And then you can see the temple on top, which is only accessible by Balinese Hindus. And I'll show you how close you can get, but you can walk down to the rocks and explore the snake cave. Now this is where the holy snakes are, which are venomous black and white banded sea snakes. And you can kind of go in there if you pay a donation, and check them out for yourself if you're brave enough. Or you can walk across the rock shelf and the water, or you can get people getting really up close to the waves as well, getting sprayed by the waves, to have a look underneath the temple itself. Now it's here where you can make a little bit of a donation, and it doesn't have to be much, and you can get blessed. There's a holy spring, a sacred spring that comes down through, freshwater spring that is, that comes down through the rock. And you can get a blessing. They'll put some on your head and a bit of rice, or put a leaf behind a flower behind your ear. And with the donation as well, you can also go up the staircase part of the way towards the temple itself, but you can't go all the way up. And you can see here kind of the stairs going up, and a little alcove that you can go into, and then the gate where it's gated off. So that's as close as you can get. They don't like you standing up on the rocks. I got in trouble for filming this actually in the end. I didn't realise I was doing the wrong thing. Now once you've seen all that, you can continue to walk from further towards the northwest, and you'll walk around the headlands and find even more temples and even better views out back towards Tanah Lot. But also further north, you can go down to the beach as well once you've got your eyes full of all the temples. Further along, once you go around kind of that first sandy beach environment, you'll come across another temple, and that is Batu Bolong. And so you can walk right around to that as well, which I'll do in this video. You can see the natural archway there and the water flow underneath. It is quite beautiful and picturesque, and thankfully that kind of sea breeze does keep the temperature down a little bit as well, although mark my words, it's still quite hot as you'd expect in Bali. Now to get out there, you're going to have to take about at least an hour, if not an hour and a half, depending on traffic, from Kuta, or it's about half an hour to 40 minutes from both Canggu and also Seminyak. So that's where you most likely come from. I actually came from Nuanu, which is the creative sea, which I've done other video content on if you want to see that, which is a little bit closer again. But it is a little bit out of the way. So you do want to kind of come here with the intention of staying for a while, or come out on a bike that you might have hired, something like that. Now it is important to note that this is a sacred site. In fact, the Tanah Lot itself is dedicated to the sea god Dua Baruna. So please dress accordingly, and pay respect to what is a sacred site for the locals. And also note that access to the island itself can be quite limited during high tide. So for the best results, do try and get around that low tide, or definitely before mid tide, especially if it swells up. It's going to impact your ability to get close to the actual rock formation. Although, as you've seen, there's still spectacular views from up on the cliff top. And as you can see here, as you go further along, you'll come across another restaurant with an amphitheater where they can do some shows. And as you can see as well, again, quite empty in the start of the day, and does fill up more towards the end of the day. Tours do come out here, so you can get kind of tour buses that will just lump a lot of people on you as well. So just keep an eye around you, because you can always stay in front of them or behind. Also, just be aware that if you exit at the far end, it kind of dumps you in a parking lot that's really unfamiliar, and I actually kind of got a bit lost. So you might want to walk all the way back to Tanah Lot before going back up the main stretch to get back to whatever transport you've organised. And anyway, that's a full tour of Tanah Lot in Bali. Definitely worth a visit. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully this guide has helped you out. I'm Chris Stead. Keep an eye on the channel. Plenty more videos coming out. Till next time, I'll check you later. You. So I came out of the very far exit, and I am wandering through just parking lot after parking lot, following my nose, trying to get back to where the driver is. It's really unclear where I'm supposed to go. Maybe go back to the way he came in. Oh, painting.